Your bank looks like it's on your side. The friendly tellers, the comfortable chairs, the reassuring slogans about your future. But behind that calm lobby is a business with one quiet goal: to earn as much as possible from your money and to count on you never noticing how. Banks make money in ways most customers never think about, from the fees they hope you'll trigger to the tiny interest they pay you while lending your money out for far more. Today, I'll reveal 13 insider secrets that can save you hundreds, even thousands of dollars, most of them with a single phone call or a few minutes online. Stay with me, because the secret at number 4 is a rate that quietly vanishes when you're not looking, and number 1 might be the most expensive penny in your entire financial life. Here's the one idea behind all 13. For years, a large share of bank profits has come not from grand investments, but from ordinary fees charged to ordinary people, overdrafts, maintenance fees, penalties, and from paying you almost nothing on the money you trust them to hold. Their entire model leans on a quiet bet that you'll stay put, stay silent, and never ask questions. So every secret here is really a way to take some of that power back. Let's start with the easiest money you can recover: the fees you're already paying. Number 13. The fee waiver you never request. Let's begin with something that sounds almost too simple to be true. Many bank fees can be waived if you just ask. Most people see a fee, sigh, and accept it as final. It often isn't. Here's the inside reality. Some banks have a quiet, unadvertised policy of waiving a fee or two each year as a courtesy, especially for long-time customers in good standing. They'd much rather give you a small refund than risk losing you to a competitor, because finding a new customer costs them far more than waiving one fee. But they will almost never offer this. You have to request it. So next time you're hit with a fee, call your bank, calmly explain the situation, and politely ask for it to be reversed, especially if it was a rare slip or an honest mistake. The worst they can say is no. The best is that you get your money back for the price of a 5-minute call, and while we're on fees, there's one that quietly repeats every single month. Number 12. The monthly fee you can erase. Look closely at your statement, and you may find a small, recurring charge, often called a monthly maintenance or service fee. It might be $10 or $15. Easy to overlook. But repeated every month, year after year, it quietly drains a meaningful amount from your account for doing absolutely nothing. Here's what they don't emphasize. These fees can usually be avoided entirely by meeting a minimum balance, setting up direct deposit, or simply switching to one of the many accounts that charge no monthly fee at all. Traditional brick-and-mortar banks are far more likely to charge these than online banks. They count on you treating the fee as unavoidable when it's really just a default you never changed. So check whether you're paying a monthly fee, and if you are, ask how to waive it, or move to a no-fee account, online or otherwise. There's rarely a good reason to pay a bank simply for holding your money, but the most notorious fee of all is the one they actually want you to trigger. Number 11. The overdraft goldmine. Of all the ways banks earn from everyday customers, one stands far above the rest: the overdraft fee. Spend a little more than you have, and you're charged a flat penalty, commonly around $30 to $35, no matter how tiny the overspend was. Sit with how lopsided that is. You can overdraw by just a few dollars on a cup of coffee and be charged $35. For years, overdraft and related fees have made up a startlingly large share of banks' fee income, and studies have repeatedly found that younger and lower-income customers get hit the hardest. This isn't a rare accident the bank regrets. For a long time, it's been one of the most reliable moneymakers they have. We'll cover exactly how to shut this down in a moment. But first, you need to see the quiet trick that makes these fees multiply, because the order your purchases are processed in is not as innocent as it looks. Number 10. The reordering trick. This one genuinely angers people when they understand it. Imagine you start the day with money in your account and make several purchases, a few small ones, and one big one like rent. You'd assume they're processed in the order they happened. Some banks don't do that. Instead, certain banks have reordered the day's transactions to process the largest one first, then the smaller ones. Why? Because if the big charge drains your account first, every small purchase after it can now trigger its own separate overdraft fee. One overdraft becomes 3, 4, 5. They've often described this as helpfully paying your most important bills first. But the effect is more fees, not fewer, so watch your balance closely around large payments and keep a cushion so a single big charge can't set off a cascade of penalties. Better still, do the one thing that disarms this entire trap, which is exactly number 9. Number 9. The buried opt-in. Here's the secret that makes overdraft fees possible in the first place. That so-called overdraft protection, the service that lets your card go through even when you don't have the money, is usually something you have to agree to. And banks are very, very good at getting you to agree without realizing it. Investigations have found banks burying the overdraft opt-in among a pile of routine account opening documents, presenting it as just another box to initial. Some even rewarded employees for pushing high opt-in rates. The result? You're enrolled in the very thing that lets them charge you, while believing it was mandatory. It almost never is. So do two things. First, opt out of overdraft coverage. With it off, a purchase you can't afford is simply declined. No fee, just a polite no. Second, link your savings account to your checking, so if you ever do come up short, money is pulled from your own savings for a tiny transfer fee instead of a large overdraft charge. Together, these two moves can end overdraft fees for good. And there's one more timing trick worth knowing. Number 8. The deposit timing trap. Timing is everything in banking, and it doesn't always work in your favor. Picture this. It's payday, you deposit money, and on the very same day a bill is due to come out. You'd assume your deposit lands first. Sometimes it doesn't. The quiet reality is that on a day with both a deposit and a payment, some banks may process the outgoing payment before crediting your incoming deposit. For a few hours, your account dips below zero, and that's all it takes to trigger an overdraft fee, even though the money to cover it arrived the same day. A check or deposit can also be held longer than feels necessary, with the bank insisting it's just being careful. So never count on a same-day deposit to cover a same-day payment. Give your deposits a day or two to fully clear before money goes out, and keep a small buffer in the account so timing games can't catch you. Now let's step away from fees and look at the friendly face across the counter. Number 7. The sales quota behind the smile. That warm, helpful banker who suggests you open a new credit card, a second account, or a special product. They may genuinely want to help you, but they're also very often working under pressure you can't see. In many banks, employees have sales targets, quotas for how many new products and services they're expected to sign customers up for. Their performance, and sometimes their job, can depend on it. Some banks even send in mystery customers to secretly test whether staff are pushing extra products hard enough. So the friendly suggestion to upgrade your account isn't always about your needs. Sometimes it's about their numbers. So when you're offered a new product, treat it as a sales pitch, not free advice. Ask what it really costs, take the brochure home, and never sign up on the spot just to be polite. A good product survives you thinking about it overnight, and while you're at that counter, understand just how much they can see. Number 6. They can see everything. When you sit across from a bank employee, they're often looking at far more than your balance. Your account can be an open book, and most customers have no idea how detailed that book really is. Staff can frequently see your spending patterns, whether money's tight, even regular trips to places like a casino, and many don't realize that notes from past interactions follow you, that fee you argued about last year, the call where you lost your temper. It may all be logged in the system, quietly shaping how you're treated. Some banks even flag their wealthiest customers with special codes, signaling staff to roll out premium service for them and ordinary service for everyone else. There's no fee to fight here, just wisdom in knowing your financial life is more visible than you think. Be aware of it, keep your interactions calm and professional, and remember that the person across the counter sees the whole picture. Now, here's a fee that strikes when you least expect it: abroad. Number 5. The currency exchange ripoff. Planning a trip abroad or sending money overseas. Many people walk straight into their bank to exchange currency, trusting it's the safe, fair choice. It's often one of the worst deals you can get. Here's the quiet truth. The currency exchange rates offered at many banks are among the least favorable around. The bank quietly builds its profit into the rate itself, so even with no fee, you receive noticeably less foreign currency than the real market rate would give you. It feels convenient and official, and that convenience can cost you on every single unit you exchange. So before you exchange money at a bank, compare the rate against a dedicated currency exchange service or specialist provider. A few minutes of checking can mean keeping noticeably more of your own money when you travel. And speaking of numbers that aren't what they seem, watch out for the one that disappears. Number 4. The teaser rate that vanishes. Remember I promised a rate that quietly vanishes when you're not looking? Here it is. You'll sometimes see an eye-catching offer, a high interest rate on a new savings account, splashed across the ad to pull you in. The number is real, but often only for a little while. These are called teaser or promotional rates. The attractive number may apply only for an introductory period, a few months, or only as long as you keep a high balance. The moment that window closes, or your balance dips below a certain threshold, the rate can quietly collapse to something tiny, sometimes a small fraction of what you were promised. And because few people check their savings rate regularly, most never notice the drop. So whenever you see a tempting rate, read the fine print. Is it permanent or just a teaser? What balance must you keep? And mark your calendar to check the rate again later. A rate that only shines for a season isn't the deal it pretends to be. Which raises the question, can you ever get them to pay you more? Number 3. The relationship rate. Most people assume the rate the bank gives them is fixed, take it or leave it. But there's a quieter layer most customers never tap into. Banks have room to reward the relationships they value, and they rarely advertise it. While you usually can't simply haggle your way to a higher savings rate out of thin air, banks often reserve their better rates and perks for customers who matter to them, those with higher balances, or who keep multiple accounts under one roof. A longtime customer who asks can sometimes unlock a relationship rate, a fee waiver, or a better account tier that was never offered up front. And here's the telling part. If they can suddenly improve your deal the moment you ask, that better deal was sitting there all along. So have the conversation. Ask your bank, plainly, what better rates, tiers, or perks you might qualify for given your history with them. The answer might be no, but it might quietly improve your finances for years. Still, even the best relationship rate at a big bank often can't compete with the secret hiding in number 1. But before we get there, the reason all of this works at all. Number 2. The inaction bet. Step back and look at everything we've covered, and you'll see the single assumption underneath all of it. Every fee you don't question, every rate you don't check, every account you never move. The bank is betting you'll do nothing, and most people prove them right. This is the quiet engine of the whole system. Banks know that the average person opens an account once and stays for years, even decades, out of pure habit. They count on that inertia. It's why the worst deals are so often reserved for the most loyal, least active customers, the people least likely to leave. Your silence isn't neutral. To the bank, it's profit. So the most powerful financial habit you can build is simply this: pay attention. Review your accounts once a year like a bill you're auditing. Question fees, check rates, and be willing to move. The moment you stop being a passive customer, you flip the entire relationship, and nowhere does that matter more than the secret we've been building toward. Number 1. The most expensive penny. Here it is. The secret that may be costing you more than every fee on this list combined. Look at the interest rate on your savings account at a big traditional bank, and you may be horrified. Many of the largest banks pay an almost unbelievable rate, about 1/100%. Let that sink in. At that rate, $10,000 sitting in your savings earns you roughly $1 over an entire year. $1. Meanwhile, the bank lends your money out to others and earns far, far more on it. They're able to pay you almost nothing because they're counting on the same inaction we just talked about, the assumption that you have no idea what rate you're earning and that you'll never move it. Now here's the fix, and it's stunningly simple. Today, there are high-yield savings accounts, often from online banks, and government insured up to the standard limit just like any other, paying interest many times higher. That same $10,000 could earn you hundreds of dollars a year instead of one. Opening one usually takes only a few minutes online, and you can keep your everyday spending account exactly where it is. So this is the single move that can save and earn you the most. Check what your savings is actually earning right now. If it's a fraction of a percent, move that money to a reputable high-yield account and let it finally work for you instead of only for the bank. It may be the most profitable few minutes you ever spend. So there they are, 13 insider bank secrets, and a way to turn each one to your advantage. And notice the single thread tying them all together. Banks profit most from customers who never look, which means your greatest financial power is also the simplest. Pay attention, ask questions, check your rates, and never let habit cost you money. A few minutes of attention can be worth more than almost anything else you do this year. Now you've seen behind the curtain at the car lot, the grocery store, the closing table, the insurance company, and the bank. And here's what's remarkable. The very same handful of tricks runs through every one of them. Next, we're putting it all together, the master secrets that the entire service industry uses on you, no matter which door you walk through. We'll see you there.